Now, Red versus Blue was one of the first web series to become massively popular. Now, in its 10th season, it is still going strong. With us, one of the brains and voices behind Red versus Blue and Rooster Teeth, Burnie Burns. Welcome to What's Trending at VidCon, Burnie.
Hi, Shira. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to have you in LA from Austin.
I feel like after all that, I forgot my guitar. I should have come out here with a guitar.
Yeah.
After Noah and a best of reel. I'm the most unmusical guest now of all time.
It's okay. We have all types of guests on What's Trending, as you know.
Yep.
But it's so great to have you here. 10 seasons. How many years is that?
Yeah, so that's 10 years. So
10 years?
We do about a season a year. We just had our 9th anniversary, and we're going to finish season 10 right before we hit our 10th anniversary. So
what was the internet like 10 years ago?
We actually used to have to make videos for dial-up. I mean, we had to, make sure that we had a small enough version of the video that people who were dialing in on a phone line could get it, because people still had that back then. And there was no YouTube. I mean, I start to sound like an old man talking about this.
You are very old. You are aging yourself right now.
Yeah. So we started in 2002, actually, with the trailer. And, YouTube didn't start until 2006. I mean, I remember when it first, turned on, and I was like, took one look at it, I go, yeah, this thing will never take hold.
So people might ask, without YouTube in that community, how did you build community? How did that happen?
Well, it was a lot different back then. We built our own website. So we have a social media site, and just our social media site now has 1.5 million registered users on the site.
Amazing.
Yeah, in fact, we don't really consider ourselves, YouTube stars. I mean, we run our shows on roosterteeth.com. And then after they run a season on there, we wait about a year and then put them up on YouTube.
A year?
Well, sometimes, yeah, for Red versus Blue.
That's like 10 years in internet time.
It is. It's a long time. It's even longer than dog years.
So then how did you transition onto YouTube, and why did you want to?
It's one of those things where when something catches hold, you kind of can't deny it after a while. It's just part of the culture. I mean, now YouTube is like a verb that means video on the web, right? And people say, I'm going to YouTube it, or if they're going to watch it, And so it just made sense. And the big thing for us was when YouTube started the partner program, which wasn't always there. I mean, it gave people an opportunity to, get some revenue back for the content that they're providing for, the world's biggest video network.
Yeah.
So once that came about, then we made our channel. I think our channel's been around since about late 2008. But last year we were the #8 most watched channel on YouTube. So we've done a lot of catching up.
And what was the inspiration behind Red versus Blue, and how do you keep it relevant after so many years?
Well, we changed it a lot. I mean, the first thing, when Red versus Blue first started, it was a very efficient way to make animation. So we had 3 guys working in a spare bedroom in my house making 5 minutes of animation a week. That's pretty much impossible with any other method besides machinima, the little m machinima, which is the genre of animation that we made Red versus Blue in. And, if you compare that to a Pixar movie, it doesn't exactly look like a Pixar movie in terms of fidelity, but that takes, 1,000 people 2 years to make a movie like that. And we're able to produce a feature a year with a team of about 3 to 5 people. Now the team, to keep it more relevant and keep it fresh, the team is about 40 people that work on RVB, and there's a lot more custom animations that we do, a lot of like really big action sequences and things like that.
That's incredible. So you really created a new model to create this type of content.
Yeah, we had to kind of invent everything on the fly. And a lot of the business models we had back then still apply to this day. Like, we don't just do YouTube. We also do home video. We do DVD as well. iTunes is big. We also do memberships, things like that. So there's all sorts of different models that we have for revenue that we kind of, it's almost like if you look at the different eras of the internet of what was popular, it's like we have some kind of remainder of that as part of our business model.
You are a media empire.
Yeah, it's kind of like a geological study to look at how Red versus Blue is built, yeah.
And then it also allowed you to branch off into other shows and programming, didn't it?
Yep. Yeah, so like for YouTube, for example, I think we're best known for Red versus Blue, but on YouTube, our biggest show is Achievement Hunter, and that is a series of gameplay videos and gaming culture videos that we do. That dominates our YouTube channel primarily.
When you launch something new, how do you approach how you're going to build community around it?
Well, that's a big part of why we built the community in the first place. We knew that we had a show, and we knew it was popular, but we thought, okay, eventually you know, not everything lasts forever, no matter how good it is. And eventually people get tired of it. We didn't expect it would last 10 seasons and we'd have more views than ever. But we had to have a plan in place in case that didn't happen, or in case we wanted to go off and do a new project. So we built the community to kind of hold the audience in place so that once we had a new show, we say, okay, here, and we could show it to our audience, and at least we knew 500,000 to 1 million people would watch it and get that first initial seed. So that was our plan all along. But our philosophy whenever we make any video at Rooster Teeth is, would we watch it? And we have faith that if we like it, that there's enough people on the internet like us that there'll be an audience for it.
And I'm sure now with the traditional media coming into this space, people are asking you advice and tips on how to do all of this. What do you tell them?
Well, I'd say it was a huge fight for a long time because what you're saying is exactly right. Media is all running this direction now, right?
Yeah.
And for a long period of time, people who would become popular online would then get interest from television or film or something like that, and they would run away from the internet, and they would go to that, and they would disappear from their online audience. They'd go into some, you know, pilot development cycle, and those things don't always work out.
And the world would pass you by.
Yeah, it really happens, you know, and then they come back after the pilot doesn't happen. They come back to their online audience, and they realize kind of what they had then, you know, and they try to rebuild it. But it's almost like catching lightning in a bottle again. So you have to be really careful, you know, and once you have that direct connection to your audience, why would you want to do it any other way?
Definitely. Well, where do you see then the future of this format and entertainment as a whole?
Well, I think what you said is absolutely right. This, for whatever reason, this is a year where a lot of things have come together, where a lot of big media companies have realized, wow, we've built these enormous networks. We have these huge pipelines. Holy crap, we have to have something to put on this stuff, you know? They can't just run everyone else's material over and over again. That era is long gone. So they have to have original content. So this is really a great year to be a content maker. I think we're in a great position, which means everyone who's here at VidCon is in a great position, you know, to be able to, you know, take everything they're doing up to the next level, or maybe take projects on that they wouldn't have been able to do before, because there's finally some financing and some respectability, honestly, for the format that's coming in now.
And gaming is just huge.
That's, you know, I mean, that's the whole other conventions that we do besides just online video, or just gaming conventions, where it's a tens of billions of dollars a year industry.
And now the creators behind it, though, the curators, like you're a curator of the gaming community and an original creator. You're not necessarily creating video games, but creating programming around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the whole culture around video games, the whole culture.
And so why do you think it's so big now? Why now?
Well, I think this, the gaming industry has grown, you know, and that's an aspect of technology and just cultural shifts where more and more people get into gaming. I mean, when I was growing up, people stayed away from gaming as kind of a nerdy thing, you know what I mean? They didn't want to get involved with video games. And now it's like it's a normal part of culture. Everyone's grown up with video games, and so they're all playing them constantly, and there's this whole industry that continues to grow and thrive to serve it. And then as that happens and becomes part of the culture, there's artists that want to make art surrounding that culture as well.
Yeah, and now let's talk about season 10, Red vs. Blue. You have Elijah Wood.
Yep.
That's a pretty big star cameo. How did you get that?
And he's the only one we've announced so far. We have other people in the show.
No way.
Yeah, but we haven't announced him yet. But yeah, we got Elijah because he was just a friend of a friend, and he came by to visit the studio. And Elijah's
in Austin.
Yeah, in Austin. And Elijah's a big gamer. And we asked him, do you want to play a cameo in Red vs. Blue? And usually that means the character comes on the screen and says 2 lines and then gets shot and dies. And he was like, sure, I'll do that. And then we said, well, if you're up for that, how would you feel about playing our villain in the show? And he was down with it. So he plays Sigma in Red vs. Blue Season 10.
Now you're going a bit more Hollywood now with all these celeb cameos.
Yeah, we have to keep ourselves in check a little bit. But don't worry, the main cast is still the guys that go into the closet with the foam on the walls and do all their yelling and screaming to record their lines.
Now it's you and Robert Rodriguez in Austin. It seems like now you're an up-and-coming production company there.
Yeah, the Austin film scene is interesting. It's like old school guerrilla filmmaking and also, new school digital guerrilla filmmaking.
We love it. Lastly, what's one game that people would be surprised that you play?
Gosh, I would say probably the biggest one is Viva Pinata, which is a game where you raise little animals and cultivate them and make them happy in a garden. Yeah, I think that's my closet game that I like to play that I don't really reveal that often.
Love it. The reveal of Burnie Burns on stage. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. Check him out, all his amazing videos at roosterteeth.com, and join the community. It continues to grow. Give it up for Burnie Burns.
Thank you.